This video is sponsored by the Foggy Dew, Dublin's legendary pub, located beside the Central Bank and Temple Bar. Come in for great nights, pints and supporting metal. Shout out to our other sponsor, Helio Gas Detection.
Okay, hey everybody, this is Richie here from the Metal Cell podcast. I've got Barry here from Skellig. How are you, man?
Not too bad, Richie.
Great to have you actually on the studio. We've been trying to get you for a while, just with certain things happening, Jesus. But you're here now, finally. You've got through all the Sunday drive.
I know, oh man, such a horrible trek down here, but yeah, we got there.
Yeah, so if you don't know much about Skellig, right, I'll just give you, it's a solo bass ambient drone project from Cork. Barry is known for his work also in Five Will Die in Partholón, and across of this carved land, 2022, and Resonance of Our Dolmen in 2024 were the last two releases. You've carved out a stark ritualistic sonic identity I've down here, rooted in solitude and the deep impression of the Irish landscape.
Yeah, that's pretty much what sums it up, really.
Yeah, so it's a mad one for you to branch out on your own, really, wasn't it? At the time, I know you were still kind of in one or two other bands, and wasn't it COVID as well? It was kind of coming.
It was actually just before COVID. I kind of started it. So when I was kind of starting Skellig, the whole idea that I had in mind first was it was going to kind of be a collective kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
Where I was actually going to have, like, say, a couple of songs written, nothing too complicated, just hopping off like 1, 2, 3 chords or whatever. Get some people in, play guitar, drums or whatever, but depending on who would get in, it would sound completely different.
Yes.
Like, I might be playing the same thing, the song structure might be the same, but everybody that I'd get in would do something different. So I wanted to see how it would go first, just seeing what it'd be like live. So Ed from the Magnapina guy in on drums, because I played with Ed years ago and stuff, so I jumped on board for that. We got a gig out of it, and then I had a couple of gigs with Paranoid Beast, I think.
That's right.
No, the first one, actually, that was coming up. I got Ollie on board for a one in Dolan's in the Casbah, and then it was going to be like the following one later. Mossy from Paranoid Beast was going to get me and Ollie on again, but band Ollie was in that time with Colin from Zora. I can't remember what they were called.
Oh, Spirit Merchant.
Yeah,
wow. They
got a gig up in Dublin supporting Torch. So Ollie was like, "Oh man, sorry to do this to you, but like, oh jeez, this is a big one." He was like, "Don't worry about it." And I was like, "Oh shit, what did he do?" Like, and I was like, "Oh fuck, I'll do it by myself." Like,
okay.
I'll be grand. Like, and Mossy was like, "Are you sure you can't get a drummer?" I was like, "Mossy, I get it. It's like 3-4 days to the gig. There's no way anybody's going to fill in or whatever." So I like just done it by myself just to see how it went.
You can nearly see Mossy growling at you.
Yeah, he enjoyed it. He thought it was good.
I remember. I'm sure I was at it.
It was a good one. Like, so I got the cobwebs out from that, and I was like, it's just like I could actually make this work in a way. So I had to change the songs around a bit now, alright, because they were written with the idea in mind that, like, I had the drums could carry into this bit, or the guitar could carry into this part, kind of thing. So yeah, I had to chop and change the songs around a fair bit, alright, to like just try and suit a one person kind of situation.
Yeah, so like, and working with those limitations would actually kind of get you more creatively thinking about how to manage it and how to.
It does, because like even still the stuff that I was demoing just to listen back to myself so I can, like, just make sense of it or whatever. That even still, that when I'm playing something and it changes into the next riff, like, no matter what way I do the effects or whatever, it just mightn't have an impact because you're lacking the other instruments there, So I have to, like, just completely change the riffs, break them down, restructure everything again just to get it going, just to like try and make it work in some way. That's why, like, I'm not really that productive with an output with Skellig. Like there's only like 3-4 songs on each release so far. Same with the next one, but when I do kind of get a roll going with stuff, alright, it's mostly just kind of locked in with one kind of set of chords, and I'm just like playing around with those riffs, building them up, building them down, that sort of way, because that's the only kind of dynamic I can kind of do by myself, is just building them up and down. You know, I can't really have any mad fucking breakdowns or anything like that going on. Just
I mean, there is technology out there that could help you in some ways. I have the full bass or the full suite of Cubase at home, but I could like do all that myself, and I tried sitting down and teaching myself how to do it. I just couldn't. I just didn't have the patience for it all. I think a young Barry 18, 19 would absorb that like a sponge, but it's just our age profile, man. It is, isn't it? It's so fucking hard to take into stuff like, oh Jesus Christ. Like, I mean, coming from bands like with Five Will Die and Partholón, where the sound is really communal and loud and built up by multiple hands, you know, what pushed you really to do this? Like,
I've no idea really. It's just it's a lot easier doing stuff by myself, where everything can go at my own pace, kind of thing.
Okay. Because I mean, I suppose you're relying on others in bands as well, you know, to show up.
Kind of thing. But I think with some bands then as well, why sometimes it might work with a few is like every member needs to be on board and going with the same direction for what you're wanting to do. And I think like the whole kind of theme behind Skellig, the whole just complete nihilist, minimalist, isolation, you know, the whole hermit kind of thing.
Yes.
It works more with just one person there.
It does.
It'd be hard to get people on board to like just, you know, join in with this kind of, I wouldn't call it like misery or anything, but it's definitely you know, a very, well, not a dark path either, but it is something that like you really need to get in mindful.
I understand. I mean, I would say like the studio element of that side of it and creating in that elements, you know, working with those elements certainly lends itself to more scope to kind of experiment a bit more. But, you know, certainly from a live point of view, it wouldn't surprise me if you did get Ollie or someone like that out of the blue later on down the line, just to come up and do this communal kind of avant-garde type fucking thing. Where
every now and again I still kind of think of that idea, alright, where maybe I could get somebody in, but just
the logistics
stuff
like,
as well.
You know what I mean?
It's just the logistics of like trying to get somebody in to like learn the songs. Like on the first EP, the songs there, they're not too long, but they start kind of getting a bit long then on the first album. The new one coming out next year, they're even longer.
Yes.
Okay. So I wouldn't like force anybody you know, to try and learn those songs, like, you know, just for the sake of one gig.
And I mean, you know, if you go onto your Bandcamp there's poetic commentary with each release, you know. Like, how does that poetry emerge? Does that come out? Like, I'm going to call it poetry, in my opinion.
It is, essentially.
Does that come out when the songs are wrote, or are they kind of ideas that you had, you know, before the music was built, for example?
They kind of all come in together at the same time.
Interesting,
When I'm writing the riffs, I still don't kind of have an idea of like what's really going to happen with the song, because you still kind of need some sort of a theme or something in behind it to like carry the song along, even if it is just one instrument, no lyrics or whatever going on. So I kind of just be thinking about, alright, what's the album going to be called, what are the song titles going to be called, and they kind of slowly start coming into place with how the riffs are coming along, and they all kind of like fit with each other bit by bit, and then I kind of start writing those kind of like poetry sort of bits, just to like, because there is no lyrics there or whatever, at least this is something that kind of ties the song names, the album name, and the music all together when somebody actually reads that. Because like the song titles, they're like overly elaborate, big, mad, long things. So like somebody reads them, like, what? Where did he pull this from? Like, at least if you read that up on the Bandcamp or Spotify or whatever, kind of gives you a bit of insight into like what the release is all about, kind of thing. Like.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, like of this carved land, felt grounded, I've down here, earthed and heavy with inevitability. what personal and emotional landscape were you navigating during its creation? Like?
I was reading a lot about the Irish famine for a good bit. I just like got into a weird fascination about the famine for a small while, just like how bleak it was for Irish people to even just exist in those times, where it was just such a like desolate kind of way of life for Irish people back then. That's where I kind of like got Of This Carved Land from, because like how many people have been fighting over Ireland down through the years, so that's where the whole carved bit came in, and just saying like Of This Carved Land that's us, you know, we're the product of this country kind of thing. You correct, like no matter how much history has gone on, good, bad or whatever, you know, this is where we came from kind of thing, you know. The other song titles involved in it, there were kind of stuff that was playing around with for a while. It doesn't really all tie in together the way it does with Resonance Over Dalman. There was like just kind of song titles I was like working with for a while, but Of This Carved Land I came up with a little bit of writing for that then as well to go with it and stuff, where it's just kind of summing up that like, you know, where we're from, what we're about, but you know, never hold yourself to anybody else. You know, you're you need to like you know, bear in mind who you are going forward, and you know, just like keep in check with yourself kind of thing.
Because I mean, like with every stone of self-interment that's taken out of Resonance of our Dalman, like and it's colder, more ceremonial almost, like
that was another famine thing that I was reading about, where when people just kind of wanted to die when they were sick of just being starving for so long and just being completely emaciated, that just to like die with a bit of dignity, that they'd actually like just block up the entrance to their house, so nobody could actually see in them kind of thing. And just when I came across that, it just really like hit a note. I just couldn't believe this. Like, so that's where Resonance Over Dalman came from. Then where like it kind of ties in with the whole kind of mental health thing now, which is coming up a lot for people, you know, struggling with like depression and all this kind of thing, where you know, everybody kind of like shuts themselves in, you know, that kind of way as well. From like that's our kind of modern way of us shutting us off and, you know, trying to have a bit of dignity with what's going on in your mind with things. So
that's nice. Nice concept,
you know, trying to tie it in a bit, you know. I'm hoping that when people do read these kind of things, that they will pick up maybe on what I'm trying to go for. If they've got their own takeaway and their own interpretation of it.
Of course, that's a different thing. Because I mean, without vocals, obviously you rely on tone, pacing, texture to kind of communicate narrative. How do you build those emotional arcs using nothing but bass?
A lot of effects pedals.
So
it's when I was.
And have you expanded those effects?
Oh definitely. Like the setup that I recorded Of This Carved Land with, that's changed a lot to what I'm using now. I actually have 2 pedal boards now. So I've got one big one, one small one. One of them just has a load of delay pedals on it. But even when I was coming up with stuff for the new album, and I recorded it with Ed Grinnell first, and we had nice. I had all these plans in mind for setting things up and all that, and how we're going to record it. It had like 9 channels of bass on the fucking Pro Tools or whatever it was, Reaper, and there was a lot there. He made a great mix. When he sent it back, and I was listening to it, and I was like, there's something lacking from it. Like, it sounded great, it did sound good, but I was like, what's lacking? And I was like, it was the atmospherics. Whatever way I wanted it mixed and whatever Ed took away from that, you do it, like, it didn't sound right, so we re-recorded it again.
Right.
I think it was about 2 or 3 months later. I went for a different kind of setup, and just all the delay, reverb was all front and centre, it was all coming at you, and I was like, yes, that's
so there's your
it works with it, like so like a lot of times when I'm coming up with stuff, it might be at home where I've got my acoustic bass or just one of my electrics not plugged in, and I'm like, oh yeah, these riffs are great or whatever, but then as soon as I plug it in, you know, whatever chords I might be doing just might sound way too muddy, there's no clarity to them or whatever, and you know, they mightn't sound good, or just once you start adding effects onto it, you might be like, oh no, geez, this is a bit weird, you know, depending on what kind of rhythm I'm doing or something like that. So yeah, there's all those kind of different things that go into like trying to get the emotion out of it. Like definitely those atmospheric effects do add to it. You know, it makes it like so much more as opposed to just like chugging out a riff.
Yes, yeah.
You know?
So it's definitely a work in progress a lot of the time until you hear what comes back from the studio, and as I said, you more or less scrap the whole thing and then interesting.
Yeah, like definitely, because being a one-man project, I can do that.
You can.
Well, if I was in a band, they would have been like, no, look, we done it, we paid for it, you know, let's just go with it, let's try and sort it out in the mix, maybe mastering will sort it out, you know, and then you release it, and then like down the line, like, no, I'm just not happy with that. That's well, all that's still in my control. I can just be like, nah, scrap it, let's do it again.
Wow.
You know, which is handy, like.
Like, do you think kind of even in general, do you think drone music communicates more honestly without lyrics? Do you listen to much of it anyway?
Bits, not a whole lot. It's interesting stuff to have on, you know, if you're like working and stuff like that. Go and seeing it live, I think is great as well. Like, I really do get into it, but definitely for a lot of people it's just like, what the fuck is this? Like, jeez. We went to see Sun last year up in Dublin, loudest fucking gig I was ever at. It was ridiculously fucking loud. Me and Heather forgot to bring our fucking earplugs, so like my ears
especially
were
for them.
Man, my ears were killing me. Like, we were getting to Lewis on the way back to the car after gigging, and it was like just shouting at Heather because like I couldn't hear myself. Like, you know, she was like, stop shouting, like everybody can fucking hear. I was like, I can't hear myself, like, what the fuck. But hearing what they were doing, it was just amazing. Like, I just thought it was just this wall, like a literal wall of just force, and it just sounds amazing. Like, and then you've got, you know, the different side of it then, like Earth, where it's just calm, mellow, and it's just really just nice to listen to. Seeing Earth back in the PAV there a few months ago was just amazing. Like, even though it was all instrumental, like, for me, there was points that gig I was nearly crying. And you know, I was just like, it was amazing, you know, getting to see
so
it.
Like, kind of drone would be more extreme, because I wouldn't listen too much of it. Like, I would listen to your stuff, but you know, I do like post metal. Again, a lot of those post metal bands don't need lyrics. We Lost the Sea, just the sheer emotion they can convey through chords, you know, and rhythm sections and all. It's fabulous. Like, you know, so. Yeah, you know, it's just an interesting perspective to see that you named the two in particular that I would have known as well. You know,
well, there's a lot of the Irish folk kind of drone going on. Like,
actually, that's actually coming through, isn't it?
One leg, one eye, you know, that sort of stuff. Like what they're doing with the instruments, how they're getting them to sound. Like, it's just the sound of it's just fantastic. Like, you know, and just you can feel the weight of what they're trying to get at, just from what the noise that they're going on with. I know anybody who's like a drone purist might listen to my stuff and be like, that's not fucking drone. He's playing too many notes. You know, it's like, so alright, maybe I'm Sludge, I don't know. Yeah. But like, it's definitely kind of something where when I'm playing riffs and trying to come up with stuff where I know that, like, no, that won't fit in with it. It definitely won't, or I can change something, and it could work a bit more, you know, just even popping in one like little different note and a chord completely changes the dynamic of it, which is massive.
Yeah, and it's lovely when that moment happens and you do find that particular
it's
chord.
Really cool. Yeah.
So like, you know, performing it live, then like I've seen you 2 or 3 times. There's minimalistic interaction with the fuck that, talk to no one, say nothing to no one, like, you know, I think it's better that way for, you know, the music that's in it. Like, you know, if I was stopping in between songs and like, oh, here's a fucking little limerick or something, I think it would kill it. You know, how's everybody doing tonight? You know, fucking nobody gives a shit. You know? It's non-engagement and just,
it really isn't. You know, I say it as well, but like other styles of metal as well, where it works as well, where, like, you know, the singer might say anything to the crowd, and they could be fucking full on, you know, hardcore sort of thing. It just works. But, you know, for somebody to interact with the crowd, you need somebody who is good with interacting with the crowd. I can't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to, like, you know, I know,
do you know what adds to the image anyway, you know? It's true, like,
Exactly,
it suits music, like. So, on about minimalism, your own photography, you head away, you do, like, it was nice to see that Youghal was mentioned, since I'm from there, Youghal Beach, with that pillar.
Yeah.
What draws you to kind of these remote locations? Do you like going to these places anyway?
It's mostly because me and Heather have to walk the dogs.
Yeah.
So, you know, we'd actually come down this direction a fair amount during the summer. Go to Garryvaux, Ballynamona, walk up around Ballycotton or whatever with the dogs, you know, just getting it down onto the beach. Just love it, like.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised how much stuff around Ireland is there just to, like, take a look at. So the residents over Dolman cover, that was in a place way down in West Cork, down past Glengarriff. We went up some mountain. Heather wanted to look for frog spawn up the mountain, like there was loads of them there, right? I just happened to, like, look across, there was this, like, unreal lake with, like, kind of mountains in the background. I was like, I'll take a few pictures of that. So it's the weird kind of thing that I do with the pictures. Then it's very, very primitive. I use, like, it's not even Photoshop, it's like paint 3D, you know, word art type thing.
Yeah.
You know, I really like the whole DIY aesthetic of doing stuff, you know. So I wouldn't fucking touch AI, you know, like go near any of that kind of thing. I'd rather do it myself.
Of course.
You know.
But, like, I mean, like, all the landscapes, you know, that do figure in your photos and stuff like that, again, like, I think, you know, you're drawn to that emotion of a particular rock or something that's just isolated on its own. So, you know, different mentality, being switched on to kind of stuff that's old and kind of, you know, it's hard to describe it, like, but you're switched on to it, like.
Yeah,
you know?
it's that whole minimalism kind of thing. So some of the, like, random pictures I've put up on Instagram, or even the inside of the tape that Fear Productions done. A lot of it is taken down on Little Island. There's a nice little walkway that we bring the dogs down there, and when the tide is out, there's just all these random little cool things, and you know, there might be other stuff going on around it, but just go down and get, like, the right angle, and you know, suddenly, like, a rotten pice of wood sticking out of the ground just looks like a massive monolith.
It does,
kind of thing, you know. And just do a few filters on your phone, then, you know, and like, it looks fucking unreal. Like,
it's just, you just need to have the eye for it, really. So we'll just talk about the new release. I was talking to you a few months back, and you were kind of going, you know, maybe Rodger from Curse Monk Records would be interested in something that I'm doing. Have you any update on that?
I sent it on to Rodger after I got it mastered, and he thought it sounded cool. I was delighted when he said that. So I was just seeing that, like, I didn't really do anything in terms of sending the first two releases anywhere. As soon as they were mastered, they were pretty much online the following week. Like, so I was like, all right, look, I'll try and do something with this. So, like, Curse Monk is all that sort of thing, you know, pretty much, you know, catered for it. Like, so I just sent it on to Rodger, here, look, what you think of these? He thought they were great, and he was like, yeah, cool, no issue with bringing that out. So I haven't a clue when it will be out, but I don't mind taking the time for it anyway.
Yes.
Which is fine. It gives me time to get my shit together for getting, like, press kit together and stuff for Skellig, for sending away to, like, get it reviewed and all this kind of thing, you know.
Yeah, in with the big boys.
Exactly. Christ.
Like, in fairness now, Rog, like, we love him on the Metal Cell anyway, you know, like, he works with artists who explores heaviness through kind of ritual atmosphere, you know, like the early conversations with Rog when you sent him on that stuff. What was the kind of feedback like off him, like?
He just pretty much gave it a thumbs up.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't actually talked to him in person, no yet at all, so that'll be something on the cards now, alright, at some point, alright, where I'll actually have to, like, you know, meet him and get a chance to talk to him. Actually, I briefly got to see him when him, Gally, Alex,
that was the
Noosed.
Yeah.
They were actually jamming up in the rehearsal rooms, and the lads were leaving. I was on the way in. It was like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, you know, Alex Ratoon's Galley from fucking slung from a
Some
tree.
tree,
I was
yeah.
what? So yeah, that was a nice surprise seeing the lads up there.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're like 2 ships passing in the night. So
fucking
at some point,
yeah.
me and Rodger will have like a chat about stuff. All right,
Yeah.
but I was just more than happy that like he
Yeah.
decided to take it on anyway, which is really cool.
100%.
Like.
Yeah. So we're going to listen to one of the tracks, which one in particular, Future Ordained. That's probably one of them anyway, isn't it?
It is, yes.
Okay, we'll give this a...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Throw that now.
Okay. Cool. So, that was a Future Ordained by Spilling Entrails.
It is indeed.
Kind of striking title.
Yeah. So the name of the album is going to be A Basement Through Reverence. So
Okay.
I don't know how I started going down. Well, I'm just complete atheist. Anyway, I just no time for any kind of religion. Whether it's like an organised religion or just complete whacked out cult.
Yeah.
So I always think that like humans are amazing. The things that we've done, what we've created, and how we've like come along as a civilization. I really think that like the biggest thing holding us back with how we interact with not just us but like the world is religion.
Yeah.
It's like it's the beginning of every conflict is religion, which completely goes against what I think religion is meant to represent, really. Like,
Yeah.
So even like going back to like the pagans now and whatever rituals, weird shit was going on back then, just them thinking that like a crazy ritual like spilling the entrails of an animal that they can like predict the future or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh man, come on, nobody
Yeah,
get off,
yeah.
But even fitting that in with modern religions and stuff as well, how like not that they're trying to predict the future, but how they can like come about things because it was said in a book or something was done or whatever 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago. It just seems really absurd.
Yeah.
It really does. So that's.
So is that kind of a lot of the themes are exploring with the four?
Yeah, it's. I don't want to say like it's big mad middle finger to the church now or anything like that, but it's definitely just more something that like think more for yourself as opposed to thinking that like you need to do something because of your belief in something, which is a bit weird. Like a belief in something like that is very powerful. That like you hear religious people saying that like you're empty, your life is empty because you've no faith, and it's like no, maybe your life is empty and you have to fill it with faith. Like
nice.
even 12-step programs, to like quit drink, drugs or whatever. One of the biggest things that some of them do is get you believing in God and praying to God and stuff like that. So you're essentially like filling that void that like your addiction had with something else, to replace what was there. Like the human mind, I think, is amazing where how you can just substitute something like that, that like suddenly something like faith
Yes.
can just take over and guide you down some kind of path that it's laid out there for you. That's what the book lays out for you, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So are you just happy to go along with that? It's a bit of a strange one. That also ties in with how I gave Skellig the name, because the island Skellig, like there was a monastic outpost out there, and just thinking, if I was out there, would I survive? With my way of thinking, would I survive? Would I fucking crack up within a week or whatever? And the monks, like, is it because of their faith? Having the ritual of prayers and their ablutions or whatever, is that what got them to like just stay out there and like not go fucking mental or whatever?
Yeah, it's interesting,
strange
isn't
one,
it?
like,
And if they left, what would they have done? They could have created some fantastic thing. But,
that's I think just the whole beauty of humans. I think humans are amazing, awfully stupid at the same time, and terrible as well at the same time.
Yeah.
But I think it's just the whole concept of faith. I'm kind of fascinated by it just because I have a lack of it. Seeing how other people like just take it on board for themselves and kind of work it into how they perceive it and how they like go about doing it, kind of thing. It's like they're still not going by their religious guidelines. They're still doing their own kind of take on it.
And you
cut
have to
and paste little bits to like suit their own narrative within it. Like
and you have to kind of then let the music represent that, which is going to be quite a challenge anyway.
I think
Again,
it does a good job.
It's the key words of another poem probably that you'll.
Oh, I have it written and all
okay,
for it.
great,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's already done for it.
Yeah. Like with no lyrics to guide the listener, what experience do you hope they have with the new one? Like, I think you do definitely want to encourage them to take their own piece of inspiration or something off the new tracks, for sure.
Of course, yeah. Like any kind of form of artwork, it's always open to interpretation. Whoever's like looking at it, listening to it, it's that's all kind of beauty of it. That like it is open to any kind of interpretation. You might have like a little picture or whatever to go with it, help you out or whatever, but definitely it's in the eye or the ear of the beholder of it, I suppose. And
you know what, like, kind of major respect for doing what you're doing is fantastic, but like someone like yourself who've always been involved in bands, I'm gonna have to ask you about one or two things. That Howard, who's no stranger to the show, he was saying ask him about clitoral defecation.
Oh Jesus!
So that was a project with Ed that we were talking about it earlier, and Liam from Soothsayer.
So I can't remember how the idea came about, but it was a grindcore band. Very, very stupid grindcore band. So it was pretty fun. It was just crudely named, crude song titles. We actually got a demo recorded. Frank from Five Live recorded on a 4-track in our jamming room at the time. It's actually decent quality. There was only like a couple of copies made. I don't know if any of them still exist, but it was definitely just like, here, lads, you want to fucking piss around and have a laugh? And it was on board straight away. I wanted to like get a good front man for it, and like Liam is just fucking gas, great entertainer, and he's just such a nice and just fun guy to be around. And like, Liam, do you want to do this? And he was like, great. So
the gigs were legendary though, apparently.
For all the wrong reasons. Jesus. You never knew what was going to happen. Definitely.
What year now are we talking about?
Just, like, I can't even remember.
90s, like.
It was, the noughties, late noughties.
Alright, okay.
When MySpace was in its heyday.
Okay.
MySpace played a big factor into the whole clitoral defecation thing as well, where I was doing the social media for it, I suppose you'd call it back then. But I had a rule where, like, I wasn't allowed to go on it until I had like 6 or 8 cans in me.
Okay.
And it was just a fucking train wreck. Like, I might check it like the next day, and I was like, you can't reply to anything until I've had cans with me. Just go look at it now and just see the fallout from what you done the night before. Jesus Christ, it was like some of the stuff was fucking mental. Like, a few gigs that we played. I can't remember where we played. Played Fred's, the Cruiskeen, and we played in Baker's Place in Limerick.
Oh yeah, okay.
Once. I think Andy, the singer in Five Alive, kind of like summed it up the best way. He was like, the first gig, you're a bit loose, whatever, but you were really funny what you were doing. But then when it came around to our final gig in Baker's Place, he was like, the fucking music was tight, it was nasty, it was unreal, but he was like, you were just fucking really nasty to everybody in the crowd, like. So me and Liam were like, I didn't even sing in the songs, but I had a mic to like just like shout abuse at the people in between songs. Maybe that's why I want to go near a mic with Skellig. Yeah. But, it was kind of like, do you know those comedians who would just like pick people in the crowd?
Yes,
like,
okay.
It was shit like that.
Yeah.
It was just mental, like,
Yeah.
it was just off the wall, you know. After a good few drinks or whatever, you know, before he went on stage, did not give a shit if we made mistakes or done whatever. It was just, let's go up.
So was it just bass, drums and singer?
Yeah.
And that was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I horribly made my bass, I cut out all the low end from it. I just boosted up all the distortion. Right. It sounded horrible.
Right.
Yeah, like it did not sound like a bass or a guitar. It was just, what the fuck? It just sounded like a chainsaw or something like that. It was just really horrible sounding. Yeah, it was good crack. It was. It definitely wouldn't exist in this day and age.
No, not with social media. No, not a chance.
Christ, no.
So like he also was on about a cover band called Rock Wizard.
Oh yeah, also another band I was with Ed, who Johnny Watkins was a guy who was playing guitar and doing the vocals for it. So we were just doing classic rock covers.
Okay. With a twist, no?
No, it was
straight up.
We were just nice normal cover band, except every gig something went dramatically wrong. Like we'd be playing a gig down in Yall, down the Clock Tower or something like that. Okay. The bag of leads would be left up in Cork. Yeah. Something like that, you know. It was just, there was always something mental. There was we were playing at a buddy's house party out in Inniscarra, and it was like, Grant, I can bring your gear back the next day. Grant was like, well, he doesn't drive a fucking van. He was like, oh no, you can throw it into the horse box, like. And like, this is after house party, no one followed me in, like, fucking bait, like, opened up the horse box to like start loading in, the amp's just full of shit. It's just like, just shit.
Manure, like.
Yeah, I was like, Grant, I suppose we'll have to fucking clean it out, like, you know, there's no getting home with the gear otherwise, like. Well, yeah, I was just gassed at like just a normal cover band, and you know, the fucking just shit that used to go wrong was just a bit much. Like, funny enough, Johnny Watkins, I got to know him years ago through music course, and when we were finished with that, Johnny was like, "Here, do you want to play bass in the band?" Okay. I was like, "Oh yeah, cool, yeah." So once again, another band with Ed, Christian on vocals, Howard on guitar, Southern Dirge.
Southern Dirge. All right.
We were playing for a bit with that lineup. Howard Christian left, and we eventually got David McCarthy, otherwise known as Dotson, on vocals
from Diatribe.
Yeah, okay. Amazing vocals,
Yeah,
so good. But at the time, Johnny was also playing bass in Five Will Die.
Okay.
He didn't really give a shit about playing Five Will Die, just to sum it up nice and quick. So the lads fucking gave him his marching orders anyway. And Howard then just asked me one night when we were fucking drinking in the quad, he was like, "So I play bass in Five Will Die?" I was like, "Fuck yeah, I'm doing nothing else, like, you know, so why not?" Like, that's when that started then, you know. So I started jamming with the lads, and geez, I still remember the first gig with Five Will Die was in a spot down in Waterford. Can't remember the name of it. It began with an F. But I only knew 5 songs. I think we were playing 8 or 9. One of the songs I think I only heard for the first time that night. But the way the everything was set up was just awful anyway. So the drums were in the back, all the amps were out the front. We were behind the amps. Couldn't hear a fucking thing. Whatever way it was set up. Couldn't hear a thing anyway. It's just, Brad, fuck, I'm playing. I don't even know what this song is. Just fucking play away. Alan was all over the place because he couldn't hear a thing. He was thinking, I don't know what's happening. Yeah. It was just such a weird gig. It was nice. Kind of way to break the ice with like just playing live for 5 minutes. It was cool.
Like he supported Mastodon as well.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, that was great playing the Savoy. It's gotten out.
Yeah, I was at it.
Yeah, for anybody who didn't know the Savoy in Cork City, it was an amazing venue. Yeah. Having something that size in the city centre was amazing. Yeah. Like, they've got that bullshit with the fucking event centre going on for the last, I don't know how long. And I think the capacity of that is actually going to be something that matches The Savoy
What?
thing.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be all that big. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it might be wrong. It could hold a few thousand more, maybe. I don't know. But like looking at the plot for it now, it looks very small.
Yeah.
But the Savoy was great fucking setup. Got to chat to the lads in Mastodon beforehand.
Oh really?
Yeah, it sounded really nice. Yeah, oh yeah, Jesus, no matter. Yeah, they were talking about the gig that they played the year beforehand in the Marquee. So they were like, oh yeah, it's cool to be back here. Yeah, cool.
They were a 3-piece when they played Savoy.
They
I can
did.
remember.
It was.
Was that? What's
Not
the name
Brent,
of
the other lad.
Yeah.
On guitar. I think he was out fucking up
Bill
his hand
Keller.
or something. Yeah, Bill. He was out fucking up his hand or something like that. So he sat out for a few gigs on that tour or something like that, I think. But Jesus, even as a 3-piece, considering how technical their stuff is, you might think they'd be lacking, but no, they were still like fucking bang on with it. Like, so it was kind of cool that even though we were the first band on, you only got to play 5 songs, I think. Yeah. We had nice, like, there was a few 100 people looking at us anyway, which is good. You know, got really into it, really enjoyed the gig. It was great. Like, my favourite thing about that gig was a few days later. So anybody that I ever saw wearing a Five of Die t-shirt, it was always at a gig and I knew them. Okay. You know, anybody who had a Five of Die t-shirt, I knew them.
Yeah.
But it was a few days after the gig, walking around town, I'd seen some complete fucking random stranger I never seen in my life walk around wearing a red Five of Die t-shirt. I was like, that's fucking class. I just thought that was cool. I thought that was cool. I was really happy with that.
Did the boys party afterwards, Macedon? Did they go drinking anywhere?
Yeah, well, we all went to Fred's afterwards.
Okay.
And I was fucking demented drunk. Chatted to the bass player for a bit, and then the drummer was sitting down. I can't remember any of their names. Brian. Jesus Christ, yeah. He was sitting down, and he was just by himself. Like, he was sitting down on one of the high stools, and I just went up to him. I put my arm around him. First thing I said to him, I was like, "Fucking Leviathan." One of the best albums ever made. They only had, Blood Mountain was only out a few months. Okay. I was like, Blood Mountain, load of shit. He was just kind of sitting there just like looking at me like, what? I was like, Blood Mountain, load of shit. Fucking Leviathan was fucking amazing. Didn't like Blood Mountain. He was like, the mix is terrible. And then here was me then trying to tell them like, how to fucking mix a Mastodon album. And it was like, the next day I was just like, fucking hell, like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, they took it well though.
Oh man, he was a fucking absolute fucking legend. Like, he was actually laughing and fucking shook my hand and like gave me a hug and stuff and like, yeah, cool. Sorry about that.
But like, do you remember, was there some fucking hassle as well with going back to Southern Dirge with an album launch or fucking CD?
Oh Christ, yes. It was so Ed was going to be going to Brighton to go to college in September. We started recording the album in, I think, January or February. Right. So we got drums, guitar and bass done in 2 days. And Dots was a perfectionist with getting his vocals done. And what he was doing as well, the finished product on the CD was fucking amazing. Yeah. But he wanted to keep on doing it until he was happy with it. Right. So he finally got that wrapped up in, I think, June. So then we had to get it mixed. Okay. And master. So we're like, alright, cool. We'll get to play maybe a couple of gigs for the CD to get made. So the CD was like, alright, it's coming out then. It was like, fuck's sake, Ed's leaving like the following week. So we're like, grand, we'll do an album launch. We're playing in Fred's. Do the album launch. Okay. Grand, sell a few CDs.
And had you had a good following as well? Like, like
it's small, yeah. The place was full anyway that night. The CDs didn't show up, so Dots
for the launch.
They didn't show up, so Dots in the panic went away and printed off in like the little plastic sleeves demo copies of the album. So it was like the full mastered version of the album just on these copied CDs. Okay. And anybody who got one, we'd probably give them a fucking real one then down the line.
Yeah.
None of those CDs worked. It was an absolute fucking disaster. Ed then went over to England and Southern Dirge ended. And it was like, I'm sure like fucking, we got a couple of boxes of the CDs each and I was just handing them out of 5 gigs then for fucking years. Like, I think Dots is probably still sitting on like 200-300 of them up in fucking Mayo. Like, yeah, fuck.
There was that many printed.
Yeah, I can't remember how many we got done. It could have been like 400 or 500 or something like that. But
Christ.
like we thought, maybe first night we'll just give them away on the door, probably hand out about 50 on the other gigs. But we were planning on having this released in April or May and play a load of gigs during the summer. You know? But nothing, absolutely nothing worked out with it. Like, you know, album launch, no album.
And the CDs don't work.
Yeah, oh Jesus.
So like I can understand, Barry, to a degree why you've gone down this solo.
Yeah, I've just been by myself, you know, fucking hell,
you're much better off. Listen, thanks for coming on the show, man. It's been an absolute pleasure.
I've really enjoyed it, Richie.
And best of luck with the new release, which will be hopefully out in March or April. It's with Curse Monk Records. They know what they're doing. Big shout out to Rodger there as well. And have you any gigs lined up before?
Absolutely nothing. So I done nothing this year except record the album, do this podcast.
Right.
And I entered the Battle of the Bands and Fred Zeppelin's. I was in the same heat as Following the Signs in EF4.
Okay. Right.
I just played the same riff for 20 minutes, so I didn't win that heat anyway. Like, they had to give it to one of the bands that actually like curated the fucking set list, you know. Like, even afterwards the judges were like, oh no, it was very good, yeah, it was nice. Like, well, I just played the same shit for 20 minutes, it's cool, you know. Like, well, I'm a big boy, no, you're not hurting my feelings. It's cool. But next year, once the album's out, I'm going to be trying to hit up as many promoters and venues or whatever around the country to try and get as many gigs in as I can next year. Yeah,
great. It'd be nice to see you out and about for sure.
Yeah, hoping to take it out live. Like, it was good to do that Battle of the Bands just to like test one of the new songs. I was actually playing the last song that's on the album just to see what it'd be like live. Fucking sounded great. So I was like, I enjoyed the shit out of playing that heat. You know, in my mind I won. But next year I'll be bringing it on. So I've been like doing set lists in different ways now, getting it ready. 30 minute, 40 minute. I don't think anybody's going to give me longer than a half an hour. But just in case. I have it ready just in case. Anyway.
Brilliant stuff, Barry. Again, thanks for coming on the show. Check out Skellig for everybody that are watching and listening. It is certainly different, and I think it's great what he's doing. It's original, which is something that the scene always welcomes, really, and much appreciated, Barry. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on, Richard.
Crucially, support your local metal scene. That's it, my man.